Thandeka Mfinyongo is an African musician and scholar and lecturer in African music and ethnomusicology at the Northwest University. Now, Umzila, The Legacy, it's her latest exhibition that explores instrument making as an artistic, academic, archival practice through the Xhosa musical bow uhadi. And she invites the public really to understand the instrument as a memory-evoking object that carries indigenous knowledge, identity, and histories through both sound and material form. She joins us to share a little bit more on her work. A very good morning to you, Thandeka, and thank you for your time at this hour.
Good morning to you too. Thank you so much for having me.
I mean, let's get straight into it. What has guided your selection of the specific traditional instruments, particularly the uhadi for this exhibition? It's a vessel for memory. Tell us
Yeah.
about that experience and that journey you undergo.
So I started with it in my undergrad at UCT. I did African music. And I think I almost want to say they chose me because it's one of those instruments that really no one really would look into or care about, right? But I don't know, I just fell in love the first time that I saw them and I heard the sound. And it has been my kind of lifelong journey to kind of preserve the instruments because we heard a lot of these instruments being dying and all of those things, but I became really passionate about them and I started to think of ways how can we preserve them, not just to play the instruments but to also learn the skill of making them, and how else can we kind of make sure that they stay alive, right? And they are visible in any space that we can. So that's basically the summary of everything. I don't
And,
I don't want to
and
waste too much of your
And
time.
agency also is important because there's that notion of decolonizing museums and archives as well. So the way you present your exhibition, I mean, you can talk to us the lens you approach it through, and even just how you balance the instruments as
Yes.
historical museum artifact versus this living, this ever-evolving tool of expression as Africans.
Yes, I mean, so the whole, I think the whole process of when I look at it or think about it, I think about the making, and also it's very hard to get the material to make it, first of all. So that kind of thing, where the importance of now the material is very important, because are we going to make these instruments without the material? So just looking into just that specific thing of material and how scarce they are, and also thinking about how in the making, while you're making the instruments, you are imparting the knowledge that to the participants or the people that you are making with. Because I prefer to have other people, that whether you're a musician or not, just to partake in the making of these instruments, so that you can feel to have that kind of embodied experience, right? In making these instruments, and also feel the fragility of it, especially the calabash, right? So when it's in your hands, how do you handle that to make sure that it doesn't break? So it's an embodied experience, but it's also an imparting of knowledge, because there's conversations that comes, people asking questions, people sharing their own knowledge about it, because there's something about this instrument, when one sees it, they remember something. I remember when I used to carry this instrument before having a bag, people would be like, I know that instrument, my grandmother used to play that instrument, that kind of thing. So there's a memory there that happens, and then people start
Yes.
to tell their stories. How, first of all, you're young, why are you carrying this thing? This thing is very ancient, so that kind of remembrance, just by seeing the instrument. So that also inspired me, just to
And
start that kind of conversation.
And let's speak about the role of multimedia, recordings, even just the conversations and the traditions, rather, from the communities. How you've incorporated local craftsmen as well, to be part
Yes.
of this personal collection of yours.
So it's really just sourcing different things. The calabash, I source it from a friend of mine, Umtwagazi, in the Eastern Cape, and then I get the sticks from another friend, Loyolo. So they live in the Eastern Cape, so they get to have this rich soil to be able to plant, the calabashes. I was speaking to her earlier for this particular project, and she said, "Look, the soil couldn't take the planting for this year, so I'm going to have to plant again." So it was really difficult to get calabashes again. So it's that ongoing conversation. How can we plant this? Can anyone somewhere, plant this as a thing, as a kind of a preservation? So these conversations are there. Even with the Ngoko women that I spoke to as well, they were saying, look, we live here, but these calabashes are so scarce to make these instruments.
Yeah.
So there is really, really a need for this preservation, I feel.
Thandeka, it's emotional journey that you take people on. It's also just, being a custodian of our history and heritage. So thank you for your work, and thank you for the exhibition as well. Umzila, as it's translated as the legacy. It's an exhibition that explores instrument making as an artistic and archival practice through the Xhosa musical bow. Again, Thandeka Mfinyongo joining us to chat a little bit further about the impact this is going to have at large.